Hello, Patriots, and welcome back to the channel. And welcome to any liberals who just clicked on this by accident, or you clicked on purpose because you're trying to keep track of what the Patriots are doing. Yes, we know you're there, and I hope you stay and learn something. Well, today we're going to be talking about two things in particular. First of all, Governor Beshear's mask mandates and how this is creating a constitutional and legal crisis in Kentucky, which is just adding to the long list of crises that he has created in our state. And second, we're going to be looking at this idea where he's now going to be issuing fines for anybody who does not comply with things that he has just made up. And that's where we're going to start. These are not laws that you would break if you refuse to wear a mask. Though law has been passed by the General Assembly, it's literally something that today he just stood up and said, "Today I'm making this up." And then another day he said, "And today I declare you have to pay a fine if you don't obey the thing that I just made up with no legal authority, not following the process that laws are made whatsoever." Now, here's one of the problems with this. Not only did he just make it up illegally, but only part of his mandate is being enforced. In his official order, it says, and I'll put it on the screen for you so you can see it. Notice what it has right here in Section 4. It lists people who are exempted from wearing a mask. Section B, any person with disability or a physical or mental impairment that prevents them from safely wearing a face covering. So right there it says these are people who do not have to wear it because of mental or physical conditions. So if you have asthma, or if you're pregnant, or you got COPD or claustrophobia or a host of other mental or physical conditions, the official order says you do not have to wear a mask. So if anybody in a business doesn't want to let you in because there's an order, well then you know what? We should say you are not enforcing the order, because the order would require you to make exemptions for the specific people listed. How come only part of it is being enforced? That's very discriminatory now, isn't it? And now some of the maybe even bigger issue is now Andy Beshear wants to fine you if you do not comply with something that he just made up. I'm going to put on screen for you now the citation that a business will receive if somebody is not complying with something that Andy Beshear just made up. Notice what it says right here. In the top, it's got the number of the citation. Then there's a place for the business's name and information. And then it says the first offense is just kind of a warning. And then there's fines of $50, $75, and $100 every single time for every subsequent offense. So if you got like 5 or 6 or 35 people in your store, or each one subsequent offenses. And then it says you can make the checks or money orders payable to the local health department. Now, here are some of the major problems with this. First of all, Governor Beshear is using our health departments kind of like the Gestapo. Basically, you will go enforce everything I said, and you're going to terrorize people, and they're just going to comply because they're so afraid of you. And that is very much what he is doing with our local health departments. And second, you'll notice in the citation, there's no court date is there listed. Even if you get the most minor of citations, a parking ticket, it still lists a court date. There's no court date for this. You don't get your day in court. You don't have a right to go before a judge. You don't have a right of appeal. There's no jury. You don't have a right to an attorney. None of those things. This is highly illegal. It is just something that he has made up and is trying to ignore the most foundational laws in our national and state legal books. He has no right to do this. Do you remember that he made up that order saying you're not allowed to go to church in person? Well, when that was challenged in the courts, the court realized, hey, Governor Beshear, this is way illegal, and they threw that out, didn't they? They said you never did have the authority to close down the churches. Remember, Governor Beshear just made up an order and said you're not allowed to travel to or from the state, and if you do, I'm going to place you under 2-week house arrest, under quarantine, no right of attorney, no court date, no right of appeal. You haven't even tested positive for the virus, just because I said so. Well, when that was challenged in court, the court threw that out. That says this breaks all kinds of laws, and you're not allowed to do that, Governor. He tried the same thing with protests, saying you're not allowed to do this. I think, and that was thrown out. I think if I'm correct, it is now 11 times in a row where his orders have been challenged in the courts, And the courts now 11 times in a row have thrown his orders out because they do not pass legal constitutional muster. And the same thing is true for his mask mandate and this idea that he's going to fine you if you dare to violate something that he just made up. It's not a law. The legislature passes the laws. But he has made up the law. He is now judging that you have to fine what the fine's going to be if you break it. And he's also enforcing it. He's taken all three branches of government and the power that is supposed to be separated all for himself. It is illegal, and I hope this will encourage you to push back against it. If you ever had a reason to go out and vote, you now have one. We need to vote people into office, specifically into the General Assembly this November, that will stand up for our rights, stand up for our freedom, stand up for the separation of powers as constitutionally declared in our federal and state constitutions. If you are not registered to vote, or you need to change your registration because you've moved, or maybe you got married and your name changed, you can do that online. There's a great, wonderful Christian conservative website you can go to do that. It is called faithwinsky.org. There you can do your voter registration. Make sure that you go out and you vote. I hope this has encouraged you and given you a little bit more information. Well, until next time, I'm Lee Watts for Patriot Point. Stand strong, Kentucky, and breathe free.